So this is episode 7 of Beating Type 2 Diabetes. And, the reason I'm doing this is because I want you guys to know that you can beat this damn thing. Not completely. You never get rid of diabetes. But you definitely can put it into remission. And, when I first started off, no one told me anything. And I've mentioned that before, but your average physician is just not really good at dialing in on what's going on with diabetes. And it's kind of weird because there's a lot of people that have it. I mean, something like, I don't know, like 10% of the population in the United States has type 2 diabetes. And what's a trip is in China, it's much worse. They have way more type 2 diabetes. And it's probably the same for countries like India. Now, I went on a trip to Nepal last year, and it's no mystery why they have a lot of type 2 diabetes. It's because the diet over there is super high in carbohydrates, and they don't eat meat. So like in Nepal, you can get chicken, but and even goat's meat, but you can't get beef because the cow is sacred over there. And so, and what's even more bizarre is you see these cows just kind of walking across the street and everybody's trying to avoid them, not hit them and stuff like that. Sometimes they have decorations on them that people put on them because they're sacred cows. That's where that term comes from, the sacred cows of India and places like Nepal. But the reason I started doing this is because in the beginning, when I started with you guys, with the 3 people that are watching this, I was having a tough time. I had an A1C of like 8.9, and I've had worse A1Cs than that, but and it's always around the same time of year. It's always around the holidays when I kind of cut myself a little bit of slack when it comes to desserts and stuff like that. And most people put some weight on during the holidays, and it's not just because, at least for me anyway, for what I've just from observing my own experience of life, it's not just because you're eating more food, but you spend a lot more time inside because it's cold. And when you spend a lot more time inside, you're not getting out there and walking and exercising and doing stuff. Summer really helps in the sense of like the climate. It's a big factor in determining how active you are. It's also, I'm in the pest control business, and so it's also a very slow time of year in my business. So I'm not actively out there a lot. Now, I've got a surgery coming up for a hernia, so that's going to really screw things up for a few weeks because I can't really exercise. So, and it's really important that when you get hernia surgery, that you not screw up that initial period of recovery. It's like super important because you can get these little teeny tiny hernias, and those can turn into necrosis, and all of a sudden your stomach is filled with gangrene, and you end up dying. But life just what blows my mind about life is just how hard it is. When I was a young man in my 20s, I thought things would get easier, and they haven't. For me, anyway. I mean, maybe they do for other people, but I mean, I know a couple guys, a couple people who got city jobs, you know, working for the city or working for the state of California, or they work for the federal government, and they retired, and they put themselves in a situation where they're in pretty good shape in terms of, like, once they retired, they were good to go. You didn't have to worry about anything. So, but I just want to tell you guys that, you know, my doctor was treating this, you know, the fact that my diabetes was out of control as an emergency, which it is. So anytime your diabetes is out of control, anytime your A1C numbers are high, that's a bad thing, because because the disease is just beating the hell out of you on the inside and in noticeable ways, like with the neuropathy that I have in my hands and my feet. Fortunately, I can still feel my hands and my feet, but I definitely have lost some feeling. It feels like a little bit numb. So the thing is that you got to get it back under control as quickly as possible. And over the last few months, and since I started this, I mean, the reason I started this was because I'm like, oh man, I'm out of control here in terms of my blood sugar numbers. I have, I'm back to normal. You know, I haven't done recent numbers for my A1C, but I had already gone back like 6 or 7 tenths of a point, and while I'm still not in the normal range, I'm not below 8. I'm sure I am now, because my numbers every day, like in the morning, are really good, and they're good at night, and every once in a while I have a bad day. But mostly it has to do with how I've pretty much changed my diet, or improved it. So I just want you to know that if you get off track and you're having a tough time, you can catch yourself and and get back to normal sugar levels. It just takes a while to kind of figure out what you're doing. Now, what's really interesting to me is that a real game changer for a real game changer for diabetes is the use of a continuous glucose monitor. So it's or CGM, and type 1 diabetics get them relatively easily. Type 2, but if you have type 2 diabetes, it's really hard to get them. And what they do is they give you, every 5 seconds it's measuring your blood sugar. And so, like, if you, and it notifies you through your phone, on an app on your phone, if you're your sugar shoots up or goes down too low. And you wear it on people wear it on their on their arm. A little pod thing about, I don't know, about that big, and it sticks up about that much, and but they're expensive, so I can't afford to go buy them, and most people think I'm rich. I'm not rich. I've done all right with my life, but shelling out another $500 or $600 is not easy for me. So I just want to let you guys know that I'm doing better, and that I have caught myself, and I'm proud of myself for pulling this off. And that's all I got.